about to introduce one of our Australian exports to America. Glen, I have the pleasure in introducing Glen Coutinho. Glen's married with 5 children. That in itself is an achievement. He now resides in Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, and over a 30-year period, or over 30 years in real estate, a little bit like Robin we were talking about before, he's achieved both number 4 in Australia as an agent, and also in 2015 number 6. But he's also been able to qualify for the top 10 agents in Australia consecutively for 10 years. Glen's been featured on a number of TV programs over many years here in Australia, but he's also, for those of you that have, say, cable or Foxtel, he's also been on House Hunters International, and that goes to 140 countries throughout the world. So I'm sure that not only do we know Glen, but he's been recognised around the world as well. In his 30 years, and this was an achievement, he's conducted over 1,000 public auctions. At the end of the day, this is the part that really got me. Although Glen is an outstanding real estate agent, what really attracted me to this particular bio was that firstly, he's a father and a husband, not necessarily in that order. But at the same time, he then went and has enabled himself and packed the family up and moved to LA for his 2 boys to pursue their music career. So when I look at this, I do acknowledge and I do recognise all of these features and all these awards that he's won. But that was the one thing that stood out for me, is that at the end of the day, he's a dad, he's a father, he's a person, and he's following his kids' passion. He's also been a trainer as well, and he's got a trophy cabinet full of awards, which I won't go through all of those. I think maybe some of those he might actually bring, and it's the awards are sitting here on the bottom. But he's focused on customer service and making sure that you build customers for life. So what I'd like you to do virtually now in the new world is, if you could put your hands together, maybe turn your microphones on now, do an absolutely outstanding warm welcome for Mr. Glen Coutinho as I hand it over to you. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it over to you. We'll have a few questions that'll be in the chat bar. Who's that just to the side there? We can just see a half a body.
That's my daughter. She's here in case the computer breaks because I can't work it.
So I'll remove technology whiz off the bio.
Yeah, take that off. Definitely.
Mate, hello there. Hello. Welcome, Mr. Glen Coutinho. If I can, I'm going to stop sharing and put it all across to you, mate. Take it away. The floor's yours for the next 25 minutes or so. Thank you.
G'day. Okay, how are you all? Good? I think I can see most of you.
Good.
Oh, there's a bunch of familiar faces. Hey guys, how are you?
How are you, Glen?
Good. How are you? So yeah, I might just give you a snapshot of what I've been doing and just how my business runs over here and how I run it in Australia, and hopefully it'll help you guys out a little bit. So I've got my daughter here in case technology breaks down. So as you know, I am very focused on what I do in my business and family. Obviously, I think I'd be fair to say that real estate's 4th in my life, and I think my wife is 3rd. I think my children are 2nd. Carlton Football Club 1st, of course, in that order. The priorities, right? It's a Ponzi scheme, the Carlton Football Club. I tell you, they kill me. But I've been in real estate probably coming up to 35 years now, and came over here to Beverly Hills because I've got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old boy that want to be rock stars, and somehow they convinced me to walk out of my 3 businesses in Melbourne and come here and start again. So I came into Beverly Hills, of course, which is the place to be. Started a Harcourts office with my daughter, the 2 of us, and got a couple of young partners on board. We started with 2 agents a year ago. We've just recruited our 50th agent. So we now have 51 salespeople working in the business, and it's growing fast. So, and we're building a great reputation, and we're out doing what I was doing in Melbourne. So, so far, so good. It's been great. And my philosophy has always been a long-term lifetime client. And I've done that 35 years now, and I'm still doing exactly the same thing as I was doing 30 years ago. And to give you a couple of examples, yesterday was one of my customers' birthdays, and she had some flowers delivered and messaged me to say, 31 years in a row, Glenn, you've never missed. I've not missed her birthday for 31 years. And I've probably got 1,000, a couple of thousand. I've got 30,000, but I've probably got 2,000 or 3,000 clients like that I don't miss anything. One of my clients just posted on Instagram that she's having a baby, and that was in Melbourne. And today she got delivered a big box of baby socks, some bibs and some bottles and just a few little things. I've got another client her daughter is Lily. She's 7 tomorrow, and there's already a little package going out for Lily. So I make a habit of knowing my customers really well and for a long, long period of time. Next week is a very good customer's mine. I sold a house for 25 years ago. It's his wedding anniversary. He will get flowers on the day of his wedding anniversary. Last year, he rang me to say, shit, Glenn, thanks for the flowers. I forgot. I've reminded him of his wedding anniversary for 25 years. He always forgets. I can remember when I sold his house. I sold his house in Melbourne for $4.5 to $5 million. And he said, one of his very close friends was a real estate agent. And he said to him, how do I get the business off Glenn? What do I have to do? He goes, it's easy to beat Glenn in real estate. He said, all you've got to do is remember send me flowers for my wedding anniversary for 30 years. He said, my wife's had flowers for 27 years on her birthday. I've got 3 kids. Every one of them has had a gift from the day they were born, and they're 20 now. And every one of them has had a gift all their life. He said, if you do all that, you've probably got a fair chance of getting the business. So I'd like to think that I'm a long way ahead of my competitors in that I spoil my customers. I actually don't spend any money, very little money on marketing. I just spend it all back on my clients. And I work hard to know my customers' football side. I met a guy here in LA recently who's just a Dodgers fan. Him and his wife and all the kids got hats for the Dodgers baseball. So I go out of my way to know my clients really well. And that gets me a lot of repeat business. All my business is recommended, word of mouth. That's where most of my business comes from, that long-term fanatical focus. I've never missed any of my clients' birthdays, their children's birthdays. I know their dog's name. I just listed a house here in Beverly Hills, actually, for $4 million. You love it up here, Lou, the 6% commission, not 2. He was with another agent before me. I listed the house. He got flowers the same day. His wife got some chocolates. His son's got some presents. And then 3 days later, we delivered a dog bowl with the dog's name on it. And he said, just so you know, I've been with all the big agents in Beverly Hills. I've never had anything, not one gift. We're talking about, a $400,000 commission up for grabs. And he hasn't had one thing given to him. And he won't go to anyone else now. And that all I did was bring my mindset in Australia here. The reason our business has grown so well here is that I'm the only real estate agent in Beverly Hills in a suit and tie. Everyone else dresses really bad. They dress like, where's Jordan? They dress like Jordan. Everyone else is really badly dressed. And so I thought, well, if I don't know what I'm doing, which I really don't, I'll just look the part. I'll be the best dressed agent in town. I'm the only real estate agent in a tie, jacket. I've got pants on in case you're wondering, Lou. And the only agent in a badge. There is not another real estate agent I've met here in a year and a half that wears a badge in town. And most days I walk to work and I walk down all the streets. I try and walk about 8 streets a day, and I go and visit all the shopkeepers, the concierge, the owners of all the businesses. And none of the other agents have ever done that. And that's where all my recommendations come from. Like all the hotels here, I know every concierge and every doorman by first name. They know me. They've had a card. They've had a thank you letter. Anytime Samuel Jackson walks in, they call me. Someone famous here, Glenn, come down, make sure you're in the bar. So they tip me off pretty quickly. I've got all the doormen working for me, which is great. They recommend a lot of business to me. I've never been into a restaurant in Beverly Hills yet without writing a thank you letter back to the waiter and to the owner of the business. And that's opened up so many doors because they always give me the best table. They never let me wait, just by being nice to everyone. And that's made a huge difference here. It's unusual, but walking to work and talking to people and handing out business cards, I think I write about 10 thank you cards and letters a day. It's really what I did in Melbourne 30 years ago, and I've been doing it for 30 years. I just went back to start doing it again. Like in Melbourne, I could probably walk around in my T-shirt and list the house because I knew everyone. I don't know anyone here, so I've started from zero again. So I thought, well, just act like I used to and spoil everyone I meet. I met some women recently, and all three of them, well-connected Beverly Hills women. I made sure they all had flowers delivered to them the next day to say it was a pleasure to meet you all. And they're all out recommending me to people, and nobody does that here. In Australia, there's a few agents that do it, but here no one does it. And I've actually had, I think I had I had 4 sales last month in Melbourne from clients that stick with me. And that's really important. That a guy just sell a house in Disraeli Street, and he said, I'm not going to go anywhere else, Glenn. You've never missed my birthday for 20 years. He's just having a baby. He posted a photo of him and his son on the internet. I made it into a frame. I had it delivered to him 15 minutes, half an hour later from LA. He was so impressed because I like to move with that speed. And he said to me, he said, you know what, I'm going to give you the house, Glenn. He said, I called 3 agents in LA and 2 local agents. Your package arrived in 30 minutes and I still haven't, my package arrived on his doorstep 30 minutes later from LA, because I got someone in Melbourne to do it for me, and he still hadn't heard from the other 2 competitors. How good's that? And I reckon when you move at that pace, it's game over very quickly, and especially from LA. And so I've just been doing the same thing. I think 4 days ago, I had these cakes made. I don't know if you ever saw it on the internet, with my face on it, like a big chocolate cake with my chocolate face on it. I can say that now, I'm the same color. And I had 10 of them made, and I had them delivered to my 10 top clients in Melbourne. And every one of them posted on Instagram, posted on LinkedIn, and it just created a frenzy. And I've listed a house of it already. So that mindset of it's a long-term business, real estate. You try keeping in touch with somebody for 31 years on the hope that you might get a listing. Yet I've got customers that have been getting Christmas cards from me for 30, 31 years. I've got clients that have been getting flowers for their birthday for 27, 28 years. I like to do things different. All my customers, I make sure I know their pets' names. I make sure the pet gets a present. I had a judge sell a house with me last year because in my Christmas card, I always had his name and the dog's name on the card, and I always had a present for the dog. And he gave me his house, Harcourts judge. So it's that mindset of making sure that you have a long-term philosophy on people. I just listed another house here in Beverly Hills, actually. It's only a small $3 million house. The lady was with another agent. She had 5 agents pitch on her house. And I was the only agent that said, what's your relationship like with your current agent? And she said, I'm actually godmother to her daughter. And I said, have the other agents told you to get rid of her? She goes, yeah, they have. I said, I don't want you to get rid of her. I want you to keep her. Let's do it in partnership and keep her on the team, because I don't want you to spoil your relationship with another agent. She signed with me on the spot. Now I've listed it. And I was 2% more expensive than anyone else. But the fact that she could preserve a relationship and that I asked her that question has kept me in good stead with her now. Now we've listed it and we're probably going to sell it. So this is some pretty important questions about people, not about real estate. I've got a client of mine that I'm selling for now. Hopefully, I think he's going down to a beach house soon. I'm going to have chocolates and flowers waiting at the beach house for him, saying your house is in. Relax. So all those little things is, if I meet a client, like I met a guy, he had 8 children. I left with all 8 children's names and birthdays, every one of them. The next morning, all 8 kids got a little gift, just like $3, $4 gift with their name on it. And he was shocked. And I've got all their birthdays in my diary. I won't miss any of their birthdays. Client for life in one day. Didn't take long. And, I want to find out people's birthdays, anniversaries, wedding anniversaries, football side. I rarely talk real estate. And that's the same in any business. The hairdresser up the road, believe it or not, I go to a hairdresser occasionally. And every time I leave, I return back 10 minutes later with a big box of croissants and business cards for all the staff. And I do that with all the local shops here, drop in croissants and biscuits and things like that. Anytime somebody walks into that shop that's talking real estate, I get a phone call, Glenn, get here now, there's a deal. And I rush down fast. And I've had a dozen clients referred to me because of them, only because I spoil them. I write them a thank you letter. There's a guy up the road here that sits on a corner. He's a security guard outside a jewelry shop. I bring him his coffee most mornings. and his name's James. He said to me, he's been out the front of this stop for 15 years, the biggest jewelry shop in Beverly Hills. I'm the first person to ask him his name. First person in 15 years, and he looks after property for one of the richest person in Beverly Hills, but no one's ever stopped and talked to him. I've got his name, I've got his kid's name. I dropped off his girls a little present recently. He's like a standing billboard for me. So that's a short version of what I do, and I might just see if you've got any questions along the way. I'm happy to answer them.
Glenn, we've got a few questions that are coming through the chat. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm great.
Just one of the questions that's come through.
Rob,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. Yep.
One of the questions that have come through, Glenn, is this is all amazing, and it's just bringing things back to what we should all really just think of what we do, and not hide behind emails and hide behind processes, and get out there and just understand what people want, and they just want to be felt that they are close to you, that you appreciate them. It's not that hard. But how do you actually manage it? So do you use a particular CRM? Do you have any people? I use Top Producer in my diary. Mm-hmm.
And I've got a 16-year-old girl in Melbourne has got a cupboard full of presents, chocolates, gifts, lollies, and she had the choice to work for McDonald's at $10 an hour or $15 an hour for me. And I ring her and she delivers stuff, drops off flowers, and she runs everything in Melbourne for me. And I put everything in my diary in my Outlook. It just pops up in my calendar in the morning, and I just know in the morning, here it is, send something out.
Pretty simple. What about the person overseas? So who about over there do you have?
Just me and my daughter. But some people, it's just a text. I don't deliver. I mean, I just ring a florist and get stuff delivered. Try to spend about 10 minutes knowing that client really well. Do you know what I mean? And make sure that you get all the information. Send a text to someone to say, hey, it's your son's birthday. I just wanted to say happy birthday. One of my clients' daughters is studying to be a doctor, and I bought her a badge that said Dr. Jones and delivered it to her saying, good luck with your education. I just look for something little that I can do that will be unforgettable.
That's great.
And if you do one great thing like that that's little, it can last 10 years.
Absolutely.
It's the memorable moments, isn't it, Glenn?
Yeah.
Memorable
moments. If you go to a hotel and there's a cake waiting there for me, you're not going to forget me. If you go to your office and there's a cake there with my face on it, besides licking my face, you're not going to forget me, eh?
Absolutely. Nicole, you had a question as well. Did you want to, is that the same one, or that's the one you asked, Rob?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And Ashley, there was another one that you had. Do you want to actually ask that question? Just go straight on live.
Ashley?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Glenn, absolutely amazing to hear how you do that. What I was really wondering is, have you been able to instill this same work ethic with some of the staff to connect with their clients in the same way?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, in Melbourne, yes. All my team in Melbourne were doing it after working with me for a long time. And the crew that I've got here are now doing it. Not to my fanatical level, but, when they come in with a listing, I never say how much and how did you get it. I always say, what's the wife and kids' names? What do they do for a living? I just ask that question because that's what I want them to know.
Fantastic. Are there any kind of roadblocks or pushback that you get from your staff about not feeling confident about this and ways that you can help them with that?
I just say you can't ask them. You can't go and say, hey, what is your kid's name? It's an awkward question. So I normally, if I'm in somebody's house, it's on the door. So I walk around the house, it's on the door. Or, I might just bring it up in conversation and, I would just say I've got 5 kids and it's crazy, busy. How about you? Have you got a family? Oh, yeah, like I got somebody's birthday the other day and he said, oh, it's my son's birthday coming up. It was in March, actually. I said, oh, your son's birthday's coming up. And I said, he goes, March. I said, oh, not St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March. He goes, no, it's the 18th. I've got it, right? So I never actually ask a direct question. In our business, we sell houses, so we normally ask. A lot of times I'll get their license for identification purposes. I was with somebody the other day and, her and her 2 kids were there and I was looking in the back garden at the house and the kids were with me. So I said, hey, what's your birthday, kids? They told me. I said, I bet you don't know your mum's birthday. And they said 5th of June. I wrote that down too. I said, I bet you don't know my dad's. And they said 7th of July. I wrote that down too and I got it all. And nobody even knew. So I'm a little sneaky, but, you can be awkward otherwise.
Absolutely.
But it's what you do with it. Write it down quietly. I don't write it down in front of them. I don't want them to know that I'm writing it down. So I'll make a mental note or put a note in my phone, and then I'll go home and write it all out and then record it all.
Glenn, 15th of 4th, 1970, and kangaroos. So the you'll watch this back. Just the kangaroos. When you said Carlton, I had you up here, and Carlton is still on COVID training. I think they are. Just so you know, I know you're watching it.
I get up at 2 a.m. to watch them lose by a point. Sucks.
Michael, I was going to say, I've experienced Glenn. We had a knock at the door one day. Everyone was over at Dad's place for his birthday, and there was a cake delivered along with 2 dog bowls for the two dogs, and that blew everyone at the dinner party away. But one story that Glenn had spoken to me about or mentioned to me a few years ago was, Glenn, you were out at a restaurant, I believe, and you'd written a thank you letter to the young waiter, and his parents contacted you, and they had a place in Port Melbourne on Beaconsfield Parade, I think, from memory, and you got the listing. And I think it's, I always hear these stories from you, but it's those, that was simple. It wasn't anything, it didn't really cost you anything to do that letter. But it's
I wrote a thank you letter, and they were so impressed that their son got a thank you letter at the restaurant, and then up calling me and asking what I did for a living. I ended up selling their house. So, things, doing good things for people comes back. I remember doing one in Pizza Religion in Taronga Road. There was 7 or 8 kids sitting at a table. They're all about 18 years old, having a beer and that. And I just went and paid for their pizzas. I decided to do a good thing. So I paid $150, and I went to the kids and gave them all my business card and said, listen, I paid for your pizza. It's just my good deed for the day. I'm feeling charitable. And most of them texted me and said thank you. And, I had a really great response from most of those kids. One of their parents rang me to say thank you. Thought I was a stalker, but rang me to say thanks. And then about 2 months later, I listed a house in Coot Road for $8 million and sold it. I said to the guy, why did you call me? He goes, I got your card. He said, you're the guy that bought my son a pizza one day. He gave me a card. And that was like a $250,000 commission. So things come back to you sometimes when you don't even know.
Glenn, that's from a sales point of view. We've got a lot of property managers in the room as well. Are you running property management over there also?
No, they don't do property management here because it's a bit of a minefield. They do leasing, but not many people manage properties over here.
Okay.
But when we managed property management in Melbourne, I had clients that I knew them really well, birthdays, anniversaries, wedding dates, and I made sure that we contacted all our property managers, contacted a lot of our landlords and made sure that they knew their birthday, football side. You're better off to ring a landlord and tell them that North Melbourne sucks than say that his rent's behind. Do you know what I mean? And just start the conversation that way and make sure that you are invested in that customer. You know them really well. You don't want a client that's had a baby and you don't know about it. And you can post a handwritten card. I can send a client here, I'd send them a pair of baby socks for like 20 cents, but it's the thought that I did it. Yeah. The thought that I know.
It's what makes you stand out as how did you make that person feel at the time?
Yeah.
The value, the dollar value is irrelevant. It's the feeling and the emotion that was created at the time.
And the product's irrelevant, whether I'm selling property management, real estate, cars, it's the same thing. It's how well do you know that person? Because I'm not in real estate. I'm in the people business.
Yeah.
I just finished, actually, I don't know if you knew, but I wrote a book about it. I brought it for you. There you go. There's my book.
Here's one you prepared earlier. Okay. The People Lover. Glenn, how can we go about getting one of those signed, and we could maybe get that to some people here for the next meeting?
Yeah. Brooke will. You can actually buy it online. You can actually go online and buy one
with your signature.
No, it costs you 10 times more for my signature.
I was going to say, I'll ask you to send me a check. Send me a check with the signature as well.
The book really is about customer service, client for life, playing the long game in life, in real estate. And that's what it's about, and building your brand. And, we took a big punt. We walked out of I think I had 3 offices. We turned over in the year I left, I think we turned over about $6 million in fees, 1,000 properties under management. I walked out of that to come here to start again. Am I mad? I must be mad. And it's very hard to sell out of a business when I was the business. You really had to almost hand it back, because coming over here was a big punt on a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old's musical career. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I might be working for you guys soon. Who knows?
And how are the boys tracking with their music?
Yeah, pretty good. They've released 2 singles. They've just released a 3rd single and a 4th one coming out. They've done a couple of great videos with NBC. They're working with a singing coach who does just Shawn Mendes and Ariana Grande, and they're moving in all the right places. I'm too old for all that shit, but they're moving in the right places. So they've got screaming girlfriends and fans and letters in the mail, and they're going to live the dream.
Excellent. Like you're not living vicariously through them, are you, Glenn?
I am a little bit, but it's funny because I've taught them the same on customer service. They get, they might get 5 or 6 messages. Sometimes, like today, they posted something on their Instagram and I think they got 5,000 likes and about 1,000 messages from girls. And they write back to every one of them as well. Every single girl gets a message, and then they send out letters to all their fans and posters, and I slip in my business card, which they hate. But anyway, I put my business card in the letters to all the kids. But their mindset is the same, client for life. If you ask my 13-year-old what to do with a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls that are ringing them, client for life is their mindset, because they know that if they lock that kid in at 12, they've still got that kid at 25, 30, and they can sell hats and T-shirts. And same mindset. They're selling music. I'm selling real estate.
So, Glenn, the question then adds, you're obviously creating that as your generation and then passing that through to your children. Where did that come from? Was that instilled from you, from your background, your mum and dad, or?
No, my parents sucked. They were hopeless and that sort of stuff. I don't know. No, I just learned it along the way. I think I probably watched a few tapes, and I think the thing that inspired me when I was about 20 was a Tom Hopkins video I watched once. And that just gave me a few ideas. But if I watch a tape like that, I run with everything. I don't not do it. And so I kind of followed the Tom Hopkins mindset. And then I thought, well, why don't I just get to know people really well? And since I don't know anything about real estate, I'll just get to know people really well. And, I can sit with a person for half an hour and not talk about their house and still list it without even valuing it. And that's what I like doing, And some of the, Lou Rendine has been around a long time. He does that too. It's the people business. That's what I mean.
Well, mate, you're the best at it, Glenn.
You absolutely. Sorry, Lou, what was that?
He's the best at it. There's no doubt. Inspirational. Even 30 years on, you still listen to him. He's certainly unbelievable. My daughter's 11. And he still sends out a CD of his son's, just birthday wishes to my daughter. So amazing. She's had it for 11 years. So, yeah. You're a machine, Glenn. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
I'll pay you later.
Really, mate.
That's wonderful kudos, isn't it? Because it's actually, a legend coming through a legend. And, I think today's been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. Glenn, you have been a real trooper, and I think incredibly engaging, and that's what gravitates. I'm not selling at the moment, but if I was, I think I'd list it with you. But yeah, I wasn't even looking to sell.
Yeah, definitely. Call me.
I just have to chat to my wife and tell her we're moving. Mate, thank you ever so much. Stay incredibly safe over there, to you and your family. We genuinely appreciate all of your time. One last thing, as you what's that noise there? Someone's got their mic on, Rob, I think.
I'm trying.
Glenn, one last thing to an agent at the moment that's going through what we've experienced with COVID over here, which is nothing compared to what you've experienced over there. Being customer-centric right now, what's the one thing that you would suggest agents should just adopt this afternoon? Whether sales, property management, what's the one thing?
Well, there's 3. I'll give you 3. How's that? The first one is obviously what I do is I do all my social media every day, 7 days a week without fail. And I post on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook Business, WeChat, and wait for it, TikTok. Mm-hmm. Every single day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
I put some stuff on TikTok that had 10 people look at it. I had one that had 20,000. I've had one that's had 300,000 people look at it in a day. So you have to be on every platform, and you can't say you're too old because I'm 55. You have to be on every single platform. So I post 3 videos a day on TikTok and then 1 on every other social media platform, business or fun, but something to get my name out there every single day without fail, no matter where I am. The second thing is Unbreakable, 25 connects a day when I was younger and fitter without children, I was doing 100 phone calls a day. Now I make 25 calls a day here, every single day, except Sundays, and I talk to people all day. And if you do, no matter what happens, if you make 25 connects a day, you cannot fail. No matter how stupid you are, you can't fail. As long as you're talking to people all day and you build your social presence, it's really important.
And the third one?
Look the part. Just don't look like shit. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if I'm going to sell my house and the agent turns up, I'll probably give it to the best dressed guy first up.
Yep. Fantastic. That is brilliant. When you said even if you're a deal, you could still make. There are a lot of deals that are making it in this game, aren't there?
Easy. Look, I'm telling you, even for my business, I promise you, I don't really know my market. I mean, here, I don't know the schools. I don't know north, south, east, and west. I couldn't tell you I couldn't point to Santa Monica Beach.
Yeah.
Right. But I know people, and that's the difference, is that I make an effort to look sharper than all my competitors, be faster. Like somebody calls me for an assessment or conversation, I reply in a minute. I go to bed with 0 emails left, 0 text messages. I reply to everything before I go to bed. First thing I do when I wake up is reply to everything again. So, you know, if people email me, I try to get back, 2 minutes. Any longer than that, and I'll start to stress out. I don't like keeping people waiting. And if somebody wants to see me, I'll have a package to them in 15 minutes. I've got this guy just joined me, 21 years in real estate. 2 ladies, actually, both of them 20, 25-year veterans in the area. This girl just sold a house to Justin Timberlake, Seal, Heidi Klum. She is really sharp at one of the big agents. She rang a few agents. I had an Uber go to her house, which is 2 hours away, and drop off a big Glen Coutinho package within 20 minutes. Done. She's on my team now.
That's your recruitment strategy. Glen, we must wrap it up. Thank you ever so much. You've been incredibly gracious. If we can give a massive round of applause to everyone for Glen.
Well done.
We have absolutely enjoyed this.
Great.
Thank you. And again, to you and your family, stay safe over there. And again, appreciate all of your time and your wisdom.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime. See you guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. See you.